Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We are going to get into our 3.3 lesson part of the Constitution. All right, so we are now into the judicial branch or judiciary. Either way is correct. Basically, we're talking about the Supreme Court, the highest court of the land. Here are the vocabulary words. The first one is judiciary. It's a system of courts that interprets or defends and applies the law in the name of the state. So the judiciary branch is in charge of making sure that laws are following the Constitution, that people's rights are being interpreted the correct way. Then we have appeal, which is an application to a higher court for decision to be reversed. So when people go to court, there's three types of courts. There's the lowest, the middle, and then the federal court, which is the Supreme Court. So the lowest would be like the Santa Clara County Court. The state court would be California's, and then we have the federal court. And before it gets to the Supreme Court, it's constantly being appealed. So you want to go when you're in a case and you want to appeal it, to make a better decision, you can keep going. Justices is the term for the judges that are in the Supreme Court. The judges that are in like the smaller courts are called judges. But those who are in the Supreme Court have a different name. All right, so in the Supreme Court, we have 9 justices. These justices are chosen by the president. The president chooses them. And these justices are appointed for life, meaning that they are a justice until they pass away. We have one justice that passed away recently, and I'm going to put her image here just so you can see who she is. You may have seen her. She passed away, I believe, about 2 years ago, and the person that took her spot is this woman right here. This woman was chosen by Trump. She's a conservative. And this person was chosen by Trump. And then we have, I believe those two were chosen by Trump. And then this woman, the first African American justice, was appointed by Biden. Okay, moving forward. So these are the powers of the Supreme Court. The powers of the Supreme Court means that they're the highest. Their decision is the most important decision, and they are the ones who get to interpret the Constitution. However, based on their political beliefs and moral beliefs, their decisions are based upon that. It shouldn't be, but it is. They are the ones that they listen to the cases and they interpret it by the Constitution. Again, think about a Bible. A Bible is interpreted in many, many ways. So is the Constitution, right? And that is their job. Excuse me. The powers of the Supreme Court justice is that they get to determine if the law is constitutional or not. Again, they are the ones who determine if it is in the way of your human right and happiness. Here are some limits. Justices can only decide the cases that come before them. Justices can also be removed or impeached from bad behavior. So, When the president chooses the judge, this is how there's a balance. Congress, the legislative branch can check the president's options, and they get to review whether or not the person that the president chose to be part of the Supreme Court um, is it was the word I'm looking for, is a right fit. For instance, I want to add another picture just so you can have we can have an image in our minds. So this man right here, he is one of the 9 justices in the Supreme Court, and I'm gonna just make him closer. It's this guy right here. So when President Trump chose him, and if you don't know who Trump is, I'm gonna go back to my slide and I'm gonna copy this picture so we can have an idea of who this person is. And I hope I'm not making you dizzy as I'm doing this. So when he was in office, he chose this guy to be part of the justice system. However, there were a lot of women coming out that he had sexually assaulted them in the past. So Congress, the legislative branch, they checked President Trump's power to ensure that this guy wasn't a bad guy, right? So what Congress did, again, Congress held a trial. The Senate held a trial, and they got all of the evidences. They were the ones that made look at the evidence, brought in the witnesses, and they were the ones that made a decision to keep the president. The thing about that is that when because Congress depends on the political parties. If you have more Democrats and less Republicans, that can shift the decisions. Same goes if you have more Republicans and less Democrats, that can also affect the decision. And I think that's what really happened. Because we had more Republicans, they support Trump. Therefore, he stayed. It shouldn't be that way, but that's what happens. Congress can pass an amendment to overturn a Supreme Court decision. So let's say there is a case and the Supreme Court made a decision. Congress can make a new law to block that decision. Does that make sense? And then, however, what could happen is that the Supreme Court can check Congress for that and see if it was unconstitutional. And they're constantly just going back and forth with that. So that is one way that these powers are kept in check. Again, the purpose of these division of powers into 3 is so that the United States does not repeat the same problems that they had when they were colonies from Britain. And Britain, we know, or England, we know, is a monarchy and it's ruled by one. And that is not what the US wanted. Therefore, they divided these powers and have these different roles for specific people so that doesn't continue. Again, our country isn't perfect, and there has been so many issues on on powers in the past 3 years, and I know a lot of people have lost hope. But I really believe that when we vote in the right people that we trust, hopefully we can get the trust back and from these people that we want, right? All right, everyone, that is it for today. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Okay, bye, everyone.